I can't resist going down this rabbit hole because you brought it up, and I feel your passion in this, Kim. But you're probably familiar. I'm going to assume you're familiar. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. His big approach right now is health in our foods, health
Yes.
in our kids. It's his big thing. He talks a lot with Casey Means, the
Hmm.
brother and sister that do a lot of that. We eat a credit card's worth of plastic, I think he said, a week.
Yes, we do.
And the highly processed foods that we eat are profoundly changing our children and causing problems.
Mhm.
I'm going to assume that you are familiar with this, both whether in agreement, but can you talk about a little more deeply on that? What your vision is for the future, especially, of course, with food, but in your neck of the woods as well when it comes to
Yeah, no, it still shocks me today that a lot of people don't know. I mean, again, I've been in this for so long that, when people say, oh yeah, natural products or natural, I'm like, oh my gosh, where have you been? You're living under a rock. Yeah, no, I love that movement. Absolutely. I think we need to talk about it. We need to expose it. And that's why I say we need to make change with our dollars, right? Convenience comes at a cost, right? So we need to get back to the whole foods. We need to get back to all of those things. And, even in the skincare realm, you talk about the microplastics. And years ago, I don't know if you remember, there was all these scrubs that had these little beads in them.
Yeah.
They were
The
plastic.
soap
Yeah. And they were
to
plastic.
exfoliate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, now they're in the water, now they're in the streams, now they're in the fish and all that. And there's pictures of them stuck in the sides and this, the flesh of fish and things like that. Well, okay, finally now it realized it. And so the FDA says, okay, this is no longer allowed. But do you know how long that they gave those companies to get those off the shelf? Because they had years of that product sitting there. It was like 7 years. It's like, no, don't just recall it and pull that, off the shelves. No, okay, we'll give you 7 years.
Yeah. So
You know what I mean? Kind of thing. So, but change will happen, but the more we are aware of it. So I'm all for that. I'm all for, again, the grocery store, just the surrounding. I don't eat processed foods, or very rarely do I eat processed foods. It's a meat, it's a vegetable. That's it. And it can sound incredibly boring, but that's just the way. And with my girls, I mean, I was making their food and all that stuff, and it was it's work, right? It's work to plan that way, but it's important that we do that, and it's important that we have these conversations and expose, again, the dyes and the microplastics that are happening. And with demand comes change. So even in packaging, and people say the plastics in packaging, unfortunately, technology is slow to innovate, right? So, for my products, we use a PET so that it doesn't leach, nothing's leaching or absorbing into the plastic, and it's also recyclable, but it's a big issue. And as long as we're continuing to move forward with those changes, I think it's a good thing. But social media does help us in that way, where we can educate one another. I love that about social media.